Welcome back to another episode of Lost in the Farmer's Market Garden Shorts. Today we're continuing our discussion of cool season crops with this cast of slightly saucy characters. Now I'm going to move the camera just a little bit. I want to show you the whole row. Yeah, look at all that. This one, and this one, and these. Oh, it is like mustardtopia. Yeah, that's right. These are mustards. This is Japanese red giant. Now, red giant mustards in our area are funny. No, I don't mean haha funny. I mean how people use them. You'll see them planted as a decorative annual for cold season as though they're inedible, when in fact they're mustard greens and they're 100% edible. They're pretty pungent, but it's worth it. They have a sort of garlicky taste to them, which saves on actually seasoning with garlic and you use more onion. But look at this color. They only really color up like this once they get hit with some cold nights. They're only going to get more vibrant as the weather chills, which is always a bonus. I mean, they're called red giant for a reason, and there it is. Tell me that's not fabulous color. Now, their scientific name is Brassica juncea. Juncea means rush-like, supposedly. They don't look anything like a rush being a sort of grass. But maybe there's something I don't know, or maybe the rush is a common name for some other plant that I haven't found out about yet. Latin be weird sometimes. Brassica means they're in the cabbage family. So, I'm going to just do a tally here. As of this video, if you've seen all the other cold season videos, you know now, mustards, arugula, kale, cabbage, obviously cabbage, kohlrabi, broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, collards. Did I mention kale? Kale's in there too. Kale and a bunch of other things are all in the cabbage family, which means they can all interbreed and produce crossbreeds, as evidenced with the Mizuna mustard in the last video. It's a cross between arugula and mustard. And I did a video on arugula, so yeah. In fact, supposedly, rutabagas came about as a weird cross between a turnip and a cabbage of some sort, creating the rutabaga. There must have been some serious Barry White music playing in that field that night. But anyway, what we do know about mustard as a whole is that they came from the Himalayan region of India, which is amazingly specific. They prefer USDA zones 6 to 11. They're grown as a cool season crop with the same longevity as traditional cabbage. They prefer soil pH of 6 through 6.8. We're seeing a trend here, huh? Their exposure is full sun, but may bolt if they're stressed by heat or crowding. I have one in the field that actually tried to bolt, and I took off the flower stalk, and I'm hoping that I caught it before too many of the growth hormones did the do. We'll find out later. Their height can be up to 3 feet, which I can attest to. And in fact, I should point out, leaves on Japanese red giant can be up to 2 feet long. Last year, I have a picture of last year when I pulled a leaf that long off my crop. It was amazing. It was a midwinter harvest. The width can be 18 to 24 inches. That's basically up to 2 feet. And they don't have any other nicknames. Japanese red giant is not the same mustard you buy at the store. That's a different variety, but the same purpose. The store-bought mustard is not as flavorful. It's good. You know, you put some smoked ham hocks in there, and some pig jowls or something like that, and it's smoked. It's good, but not the same, and definitely less nutrient dense. Now, mustard greens have been eaten for at least 5,000 years. Interestingly, mustard is considered invasive in Michigan, Florida, and Alaska, and certain parts of the Midwest consider it a dangerous, potentially invasive weed, even though it's cultivated. The flavor is stronger when the plant bolts, because, of course, all the sugars are going towards the flower growth and the seed production. Mustard greens are still the source of mustard seed, which is used to make the condiment, which is interesting. I thought they had a special breed, and they probably do to some extent. I mean, you've heard of black and white mustard seed, and that's based on, in some cases, when it's harvested or the specific variety. But yes, this is the plant that makes mustard seed, the seasoning. Okay? So, one-stop shopping. Now, as for nutrition, per 56 grams chopped and raw, 2 grams of protein, 2 grams of fiber, 1 gram of sugar. 9% of your daily uptake of vitamin A, 6% of your uptake of B6, 44% of vitamin C, 8% of vitamin E, 120% of vitamin K, and 10% copper. That's some serious nutrition right there. It makes these plants really worth growing, and even if you don't eat them, I mean, they are pretty. You know, you plant, if you were going to do this decorative, you plant this in with something orange and yellow to get the full fall candy corn effect, I'd imagine. Now, assuming you're growing this as a crop, why should you grow it? Well, as you can see, mustards can grow pretty densely together. These are tree pots, and they're obviously happy. In some cases, they're growing in there with kale. They're pretty happy. They don't require much. You harvest individual leaves, which can be a little labor intensive, but it keeps the crop growing, so it doesn't really matter. And since they're in the cabbage family, they are kind of a heavy feeder, so you do want to give them fertilizer. You do want to replenish the soil after you're done with that crop. And, of course, you know, you can take the leftover bits and throw it in the compost pile, and it'll return the nutrients to your compost, which then you can return to your garden beds. So, fairly easy. Now, if you're not a fan of peppery, spicy mustard, you can get the green type, and it's milder. Personally, I'm not a fan of that, but that's just me. And I think that's about all you need to know about red giant mustard. We've covered Mizuna, which is an alternate form. It's actually said to be milder than red giant, but I'll find out soon enough. As always, folks, if you like this episode, please like and subscribe, hit up the blog, leave a comment if you have any questions, or you want to correct the way I mispronounced probably Japanese there. As always, folks, keep them growing, and thanks for watching.